Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into the science of success, and we're using Mark Efron's book, 8 Steps to High Performance, as our guide. It promises a super clear, no-fluff path to becoming a top performer, and it's all backed by real research. So let's get right into it by challenging pretty much everything you think you know about getting ahead.
I mean, just think about all the advice you've ever gotten on how to succeed. Work harder, be authentic, focus on your strengths. But what if a lot of that is just, folklore? The book argues that a huge amount of the advice we get, from our bosses, from blogs, from bestsellers, is at best totally unproven, and at worst, it might actually be holding us back. And that is the core of the problem, right? We are absolutely drowning in a sea of tips and life hacks, and it just creates this paralysis. It's almost impossible to figure out what actually works. So how in the world do you find the real signal in all of that noise? Well, the book offers a really powerful framework to do just that. It all starts with a simple but honestly pretty profound idea: separating what you can control from what you can't. And trust me, once you see this breakdown, it is a total game changer.
So here's the central idea. Science shows that about half of your performance is decided by factors that are pretty much locked in by the time you're an adult. Think of things like your raw intelligence and your core personality. But, and this is the exciting part, that means the other half, a massive 50%, is completely flexible. It's totally up for grabs. So you've got this fixed 50%. That's the stuff you can't really change. But then there's the flexible 50%, and that's where the magic happens. This is where those 8 science-backed steps come in, giving you the actual tools you need to fundamentally reshape your own success. Now, you might be wondering, okay, so why should I trust these steps over any other advice? The author makes a crucial distinction here. You see, research could just be a single study from one consulting firm. Science is better. That's a peer-reviewed experiment. But these 8 steps, they're based on conclusive science. That means literally hundreds of experiments all point to the exact same result. You just can't ask for a higher standard of proof. So, while there are 8 steps in the book, let's zoom in on 3 of the most powerful and maybe a little counterintuitive ones, just to see this method in action. We're going to explore why you should set huge, almost impossible-sounding goals. Then we'll talk about why faking it is sometimes way more effective than just being authentic. And finally, how to strategically master the art of connecting with the right people. Let's kick things off with goals. When Michelangelo was asked to paint the Sistine Chapel, he basically said, "I'm a sculptor, not a painter." That goal was so massive, so far beyond his comfort zone, that it forced him to develop entirely new skills. And that's the point. Bigger goals don't just get you bigger results, they force you to grow in ways that smaller, safer goals never, ever will. All right, now for a pretty provocative one, fake it. This idea flies directly in the face of that popular mantra to always be your authentic self. As the legendary leadership expert Marshall Goldsmith says, great performers know when it's showtime. It doesn't matter if they have a headache or a personal issue, they deliver the performance that the moment requires. Now, let's be super clear. This is not about being a fraud. It is about being adaptable. It's about being effective. If a situation requires you to be more extroverted or more decisive than you naturally are, you don't just say, well, that's not the real me. No, you adapt your behavior to be effective. It's a powerful skill, not a character flaw. Finally, let's talk about connecting, especially with your manager. The science is so clear on this. Your relationship with your boss is a huge predictor of your success. And the tactics are surprisingly straightforward. Of course, you have to perform consistently, but you should also be actively helping them succeed. Use sincere flattery to build goodwill. And yeah, even offer genuine friendship. It's about building a powerful professional alliance. So, after you apply these steps, what are you really aiming for? The book brings in this fascinating concept from biomechanics that will completely reframe how you think about your own potential. It's called theoretical maximum performance. Just imagine the absolute peak you could achieve if everything, your focus, your energy, your skills, were all perfectly optimized in a single moment. Now, it's an impossible target to hit all the time, but it serves as the ultimate benchmark for what you are truly capable of. And this chart illustrates it perfectly. An average person lifting weights might use about 65% of their theoretical max. A trained athlete gets that up to 80%. But an Olympian, in competition, with every single factor perfectly aligned, can reach up to 93%. That gap between average and elite isn't just a little more effort. It's a huge leap in optimized performance. 93%. Just think about that number in your own work. What would it even look like to operate that close to your absolute peak? That's the power you unlock when you optimize your flexible 50. It's not about working more hours. It's about getting every controllable factor working in perfect alignment for you.
And that brings us right back to the beginning. We know that 50% of your performance is flexible and it is within your control. By applying these science-backed steps, you're not just hoping to get better. You're systematically closing the gap on your own theoretical maximum. The most crucial point of all is that the power to do that is entirely in your hands.